Assalam, my people. Um, I've been wanting to start a YouTube channel for a while, and I was actually supposed to start with a friend, and that's why it took way too long. So today I said, why not just start it? Start little by little, post videos, and because I usually find that I have a lot to say about a lot of things, especially things relating to Africans, black men, be it like political, social. There's a lot of, for example, there's a lot of issues in the society which I'm currently in now. Um, I'm in New York. I was born in Kenya, but I came here when I was like around 8, and I've been living here ever since. And I started going back and forth though later on when I was like 17-ish, 18 actually. And so I kind of started to learn, different things, like the difference between back in Africa versus here, and so that's kind of really when I started to, I should say, think differently. And that's when I started talking about it. And, so I decided let me start because how long should I wait? This friend that I planned on starting a channel with, if not now, then when? So I said, let me just grab my phone and, start, and, we'll see where it goes. So, Assalam, my people. Um, I've been wanting to start a YouTube channel for a while, and I was actually supposed to start with a friend, and that's why it took way too long. So today I said, why not just start it? Start little by little, post videos, and because I usually find that I have a lot to say about a lot of things, especially things relating to Africans, black men, be it like political, social. There's a lot of, for example, there's a lot of issues in the society which I'm currently in now. I'm in New York. I was born in Kenya, but I came here when I was like around 8, and I've been living here ever since. And I started going back and forth though later on when I was like 17-ish, 18 actually. And so I kind of started to learn, different things, like the difference between back in Africa versus here, and so that's kind of really when I started to, I should say, think differently. And that's when I started talking about it. And, so I decided let me start because how long should I wait? This friend that I planned on starting a channel with, if not now, then when? So I said, let me just grab my phone and, start, and, we'll see where it goes. So, um, I know that there are a lot of YouTube channels out there that talk, like a lot about the kind of stuff that I'm mentioning here. For example, like in this society, I can think of maybe like 10 different channels, that talk about like, issues that black men are having here, black women are having here, black families all together. And I usually find it that they mention a lot of good points. However, sometimes they just tend to, take this different angles than, from what I would take. Like, they talk about stuff relating to us, the black community, both here in the diaspora versus back there, on the mainland. And but they usually miss certain points that I'll probably, dig into. So, It just kind of like inspired me to start my own channel and you know, go at it, talk about these issues, you know, and grow. I also have, as a black man being here, you know, I've had my own share of experiences, and you know, some of that stuff I can kind of like talk about here and there. But it's just like I find it that these kinds of things that we talk about, you know, on these different channels, you know, they're never ending, and there's usually a lot to learn from them. Within, like, you know, our immediate surroundings and local communities. Sometimes it's, you know, on the other side of the country. Sometimes it's in Africa. And you know, there's also other kinds of channels, like for example, some that I follow from back home. They do talk about like some issues, some of them, but a lot of them that I'm seeing is like kind of guys just like, you know, talking about local things like development, and you know, not so really trying to dig in deep like guys here in the diaspora do. So I find myself kind of in between, because I can talk a lot about, you know, what's going on there, development. I can talk about, you know, the issues that we're having there in you know, in communities back home, and also here at the same time, because like I said, since I started going back, I never stopped. I try to go back at least like once or twice a year, you know, sometimes 3 times. Last year I was there 3 times. This year I've been there once. Planning on heading back real soon. And also at the same time, I kind of see myself, you know, resettling back home, and pretty much as soon as I'm ready. I mean, that process, of course, but you know, I've made my nia, my intention, you know, to go back. But you know, it's a work in progress. It takes time. You know, you gotta go over there, you gotta get some things done, then you come back and, you know, get things done here, work, get some cash, you know, bring over there, whether you're investing or just building, or you know, whatever it is you're doing. So yeah, I'll be touching on, you know, different topics as time goes. I'll also possibly try to get some, you know, some guys to also share their experiences, because for example, me and my friends, you know, from that I grew up here with here, we in a sense had the same experiences because we're together, but at the same time we had different experiences, in the sense of like, you know, my background versus theirs, you know, me being born there, me having like, you know, the parents, you know, that I have, Africans, versus them being like, you know, Black Americans. So I'm very sure that there's a lot of things that, you know, we see differently, and I started to see those kinds of things later on, like after high school ish. Like for example, a few years back, I came up with a few different ideas, and I, you know, like kind of investment stuff, and I decided that it would be better if I, you know, got some guys together, and then, you know, we like give them a shot. So, you know, after getting a couple guys together, I think it was like maybe around 6, 7, or 8 of us. I kind of started to notice that guys were different, and you know, some were just not very into it. Some were very into it, and you know, some kind of dropped out of that. And but for the guys that stayed, later, way later down the road, I noticed that, you know, we had different agendas. Like for example, I found myself wanting to do what I wanted to do, with the intention of going back home, like, or starting here to, you know, go and finish it back home, or end up there at least. And so I started sharing a lot of information with these guys, and you know, telling them how Africa is, and you know, trying to like, you know, inviting them to come there, and you know, also kind of trying to get them to see. Because okay, let me give one example. One specific example was we were talking, you know, trying to do like, you know, farming stuff. So I started telling this guys that, hey guys, when I go back home, I see that the opportunities over there are a lot more attractive than over here. Because over here, for example, in order to start something like, a small business, you gotta get a permit, you gotta, deal with the Department of like Labor, Department of Health, and all this kind of craziness. You gotta get, a business license. You gotta, before you get into a business, you're like over 100 grand in. Versus if I had 100 grand in cash and I took that back home, that's a business, on solid feet, So when I started to mention such stuff, I started to realize that these guys were kind of pulling back, and or maybe it was me that was kind of starting to like deviate. But long story short, I ended up kind of like finding myself on this path that I was pretty much like alone again, which was fun. It was all good. We still shared information, and we were still trying to like help each other grow, and even up to now. But I at that time actually did not know how much of a big thing that it was, like for example, guys like going back to Africa, going to visit, getting to know the motherland and all that. And so I didn't really try to push it, too hard. But then a little later after that, I started realizing that there are some actually guys, like young people, getting up from here and, moving back home. And some of them just to visit, because it got easier to travel, it's gotten cheaper, so. And then also with the media, a lot of people actually know about the places that they're going to before they go there. Before, if you heard about Africa, you didn't really have like a genuine picture. You just knew what either you were told or what the media showed you. So it kind of like it kind of like some people were just like for example, I had a couple friends. These are a different group of friends, and I used to mention to them, guys, when I'm going back down, you guys should come down with me, because they used to like to party and go out and stuff like this. And once I started going back home and exploring, and I saw that the scene was kind of pretty nice, and let alone the fact that there was a lot of like added benefits. So I'll talk to these guys like, yo guys, come with me. And dude started shaking, and I'm like, now looking back at it, I see how crazy that was, because now you got a lot of young people getting up and going back home. And when they go there, they find themselves like, a lot of them, actually a decent amount of them now, find a lot of success in doing, business, whether it's like agriculture, it's IT, some sort of engineering stuff, commerce, whatever it be. So now those same guys, specifically the ones that were shaking when I mentioned, let's go back home, come up with me, I'll take you guys around and whatnot. Now they're a lot more open to going. But the difference is, now things are different. Now I'm married. Now I'm focused on doing certain things. So now I don't have as much time, to just be hanging around or going out and this and that, So now I'm a lot more limited, in that sense. But so back to these guys, of course, like they were never really like, oh nah, we don't want to go to Africa, the guys that I was trying to invest with. But they still haven't gone, but they've showed interest, that I want to go. Actually, truthfully, some of them had even shown interest, like even prior to that. So the more I talk to them about things, and the more they're seeing things and learning from the media, the more attractive they're finding Africa to be. So now we could possibly work together in the future. Actually, I was talking to one of my friends just a couple of days ago, and he's like, dude, when I give him the rundown of what's going on there, how people are starting businesses, how people are finding success, and he got a real clear picture of it. He was like, yo dude, I want to go down there, so I guess it's just a matter of time before we get down there. And and see what it's about, so they could get a feel for it, and also they could, like, become familiar with it, and feel like they could be at home. But yeah, anyhow, I just wanted to kind of like give a bit of a picture of, like, what I'm trying to do here, and share, subscribe, follow, support.